Hello, John.
Hello, Alexx.
Do you know what I hate?
What do you hate?
I mean, I'm not sure if a bifurcated cervix I hate. I'm going to say I dislike intensely a bifurcated cervix. But I can't. I abhor a trifurcated cervix.
Really?
Oh boy. Oh yeah.
Takes all kinds, I guess. Why do you hate a bifurcated or a trifurcated cervix?
You ever had to pay for gynecological tools used for operating on mutant women in this economy? Phew.
I haven't. That's I should count my blessings that I have not been put in that position.
Spendy. I mean, you thought trying to get those kind of eggs were expensive.
God.
All right, this bit's going on for really long. We watched Dead Ringers.
What happened to you? Hey, I could feel it. I smile and I cry without knowing why. The joy in your pain would be so real. I felt like my life was happening again. And now I know it's 'cause you're part of me. Wasn't my choice, it was meant to be. We were connected even when apart. We got together, now the river to stop. United, outside and in. Yeah. When you're twins, the magic just never ends.
I'm going to give you background to this movie because I have 4 things to say about it. I'm sure I'll come up with more as we go along. But the background is funny. When I was younger, I hung out at a coffee shop called Steaks and Stuff.
It was a coffee shop called Steaks and
Called
Stuff.
Steaks and Stuff. It was like a diner coffee shop thing.
Okay.
Jersey has a lot of them. And we befriended the waitress, and eventually through her her husband. And the waitress was old, so probably 30, but we were 17, so she's ancient. And her husband was this Lenny Bruce kind of guy. We later found out literally on heroin, but he would tell us about these fucked up movies. Like, he was the one that got us into Lenny Bruce. He had this like really New Jersey way. You would have loved the guy, but he was the one that told us about Dead Ringers. He was like obsessed with this movie, and he was the gynecological tools used for operating on mutant women, which isn't even in the movie the way I'm saying it.
Right.
I don't know why we said it like that. I know we said it like that. We said it like that near to when we watched the movie in the 90s. But yeah, I was a crazy drug addict guy whose dad was a mafioso, and then died from heroin later.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a full life. That's a lot going on there.
He also was in a weird like psychedelic band, and he sung a song about possibly a walrus stripper, but I could be wrong about that.
A Wallace stripper?
Walrus.
A walrus stripper. Okay,
So
well, I
there's
can get on board with that.
No, here's the thing. The point is, that like first Pink Floyd album that's like super fucking weird? It's kind
All
of
the Sid
that,
Barrett stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, and that birthday party album by Nick Cave. Like, it's kind of like that smashed together. So some of those things are like overlapping in my memory, but like the point is really very strange drug music.
Sure.
And then me and my 17-year-old girlfriend, I was 17 at the time, was appropriate. We're like at this
Jerry
heroin addict's
Seinfeld.
house. I set up his fucking computer and showed him how to go on AOL.
Wow.
Yeah. But here's what introduced me to Dead Ringers.
So that's our review. Is thumbs up to that guy.
Yeah. Thumbs up to Nick. I will leave his last name off the boards, even though he's dead.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't think anyone's clamoring to know more about this guy.
Well, I don't know if his wife is dead.
Okay, well, I guess she might. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know their relationship. I shouldn't assume.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting if after all these years somehow we get back in touch because she heard John and Alex hate
she was
stuff
like,
episodes about Dead Ringers.
I remember my time at Steak and Stuff. That was a treasured memory.
Hey, that fat son of a mafioso sounds like my dead ex-husband. Yeah, we used to call it steaks and boners.
Cool.
Because we were witty. Anyway,
Yeah,
so,
Kevin Smith.
Yeah, David Cronenberg's Dead Ringers.
Yeah.
I remembered this movie being little peppier.
Uh-huh.
I think it's more the reaction to it was peppy, and I kind of overwrote the me and my friends like enjoying the weirdness of this.
Yeah.
Over this bleak, depressing depressing, just grayscale movie.
Yeah, it is dour. It's like a movie that, in a way, you could view this as a movie for incels, because at its heart, it's like, you ever like date a woman? It'll ruin you. Just having emotions towards a woman will just absolutely destroy you.
Oh, interesting. I didn't. Okay, wait. I have to think about that for a second. Yeah, okay. I'll take that. Acceptable. Yeah. I was more like the like I was more, and I'm not trying to be like, I'm trying to word this in a way that doesn't come across as Alexy, but like the kind of gay panic of it. They're like anything but showing actual love to your brother. Like literally, like just know what I'm going to do? Instead of just having a healthy relationship with this man, I'm going to trick a woman into believing he's him, and we're both going to, like it's.
Yeah, I mean, it's these two twins, and they have a very complicated relationship. And I think there's like, they're the same person, but they're not, but they depend on each other, in healthy and unhealthy ways. And I think some of that is that cold, being doctors inside. It's like when we're introduced to them as small children, they're already talking about the reproductive system in a very cold and clinical way at like age 8. And like the idea that, what if you were allowed to have emotions just goes so wrong for them.
Yeah. Because
one actually experiences it outside of the control of the other one, and it goes bad.
Yeah. There's I guess the thing to talk about in the film, I'm trying to like not be just negative, because like my takeaway was thoroughly negative this project. Not like the movie is obviously quality. Mm-hmm. Like Jeremy Irons puts in a goddamn performance here. Like it's well made, looks good. Like I'm pro this movie. Mm-hmm. But trying to find like positive things about it,
right?
That isn't just like, well, yeah, that depressing scene. Like this movie, like even for Cronenberg is low. Like because there's some of that Cronenbergian like body horror, but it's more descriptive than shown.
Yeah,
there's only really maybe 3 actual graphic scenes.
Right. It's a lot more psychological.
Yeah,
and you could tell I tented my fingers when I said that.
I can attest to an audience at home. John did in fact tent his fingers when he said that.
But I'd say possibly his saddest movie. I haven't seen Spider in a long time, but it's not like The Fly is this grand tragedy. It's very operatic in that. And this is just a dude crashing out for an hour. Like I thought, for like half the runtime of the movie, because I thought the crash out was more towards the end, but it is very early on, and it just keeps going. And it's a rough watch.
Yeah, my memory of it was more that. I thought that we had more time with them as like functioning people, and I thought it was more they start discovering the mutant women earlier in the film, even if there are mutant women. But like I thought that was more the inciting incident to the drugs, less than they just did so many drugs that they can't see vagina correctly anymore. Right.
I mean, that was apparently this is loosely based on a book called Twins, which is not the Arnold Schwarzenegger one, which is loosely...
No, that movie's also based on this.
Oh.
The original cut of Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito was fucking bleak.
I cannot wait to do barbiturates.
Yeah. In the morning, we will do fentanyl. It will be a little treat.
But I wanted ice cream. That was my Danny DeVito. It was dead on.
I mean, I wanted to do one, and I didn't even know where to start, and I'm proud of you for going for it.
I just went, little troll.
It.
Little New York sounding troll.
Man. Yeah, I think you did it. You did well. Congratulations.
But that it's the... I'm looking up what their names are because I...
Beverly and Elliot.
No. In real life, they're Stuart and Cyril Marcus. They were real twin gynecologists who were like found dead together in their apartment, and it was a complete like trashed out place, like at the end of this movie.
Oh, really?
Though it's like the book is more dramatized because no one really knows what happened with them. But they found out that basically I think it was a withdrawal from drugs, but that they there were some similarities between the Mantles and them, but
Oh no, shit! I thought the book was fiction. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is sort of a fictionalized, like more, like I said, dramatized version.
But it's
of
based
what
on
happened.
it's based on
It's
a
based
real
on
story.
two
That's
dudes
crazy.
but yeah, these are Beverly and Elliot Mantle, played by Jeremy Irons, and this was a huge deal at the time because, now you can use computers to make multiple Army hammers. And that stuff's a lot easier. It was a lot trickier back when this movie was made in what was it, 1988-ish? Yeah, that to have it like be very believable. There'd be a lot of the Patty Duke show where like it's always one of the back of their heads or something like that. And they do some of that because there's no way to get around that in the way you make a movie. You see the back of people's heads in conversations and stuff like that. But like the believability of them interacting and just Irons' great performance of being able to make these characters separate, but also like similar enough that you kind of get confused sometimes who's who. In a way that I think serves the movie, not like that's that was sloppy, but kind of adds a layer to it.
So Jeremy Irons was highly praised for this film. I think that's why this film really like made its mark, and he deserves every bit of it because there is the early scene where it's I know their names. I don't know which one's which. That's kind of the point of the movie.
Yeah,
but where who's the one that gets on drugs first and is with the woman?
Beverly.
Yeah. So Beverly is pretending to be Elliot, but not doing the best job of it. So like the cracks are showing and you can see Beverly through his Elliot disguise. And you're like, but that's Jeremy Irons pretending to be Beverly, pretending to be Elliot. It's like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I was reading that apparently like initially they were like, we're going to give you two different dressing rooms, one for Beverly, one for Elliot. And he was like, no, like, in a much more actory way, he was like, I understand what you're going for. I think that's kind of a neat idea, but like they're also confused in the same person in ways. And so I want to be able to inhabit that. And, it's a very strange position to be in because, it's not one of those like, well, okay, so you're Wario and in this scene you'll be Mario. And it's like, okay, these are two very different people. And I understand that is that there's a lot of like very subtle differences between these two guys. And they remade this recently. Like they did a series with Rachel Weisz that I'm curious to check out.
My friend Mel watched it and she liked it initially, but she said it just lost all momentum.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's one person's opinion.
I mean, yeah, that's generally my complaint about a lot of modern serialized television or street, whatever you call it, series, I guess, is that it's like, this is good. Oh, it's still going, huh? All right.
Yeah, I mean, so the crux of the film is like just trying to is one of them trying to be a singular person and everything going wrong because of it.
Yeah.
And there's a really lovely telling part like later in the film when everything's off the rails and Jeremy Irons, I'm going to use this on purpose, is introducing himself to a new patient. He's like, hello, I'm one of the Mantle brothers. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like he has a moment of pause and he kind of forgets who he actually is.
Yeah.
I don't think he forgot, but that's a beautiful.
Because I think he's Elliot pretending to be Beverly. I don't remember, but that complete breakdown. Because the crux of this thing is that they are successful. They have been studying anatomy since they were kids. And like at Cambridge or Oxford or whatever fancy school they're at, they invent a speculum plus. I don't know what it is. Some awesome gynecological tool, and they get some money off of that, and they form a practice in New York beyond like their university work, or should I say, really mainly Elliot's or Beverly's university work. Elliot's more of like the face of the two. He goes and hobnobs, and Beverly prefers to hang in the back and do research. Which is funny because they always make a big deal out of how gregarious he is and how much people like Elliot and that how much better he is at that. And whenever they show his lectures, he's always just and he's like got the microphone right up to his face and just boringly going through these things. But that Beverly. So Elliot, since Elliot's a little bit more of a suave guy, they have a joint practice where specifically fertility, like that is their deal. It's very strange that that's what they want to focus on. It's not just like, oh yeah, well, I mean, it seems like they have other patients, but their main focus is controlling life, which is a running theme in this movie. And then they get a patient one day, this woman, played by Genevieve Bujold, actress Claire Nouveau, who's got a trifurcated cervix.
Started on
Yeah,
those.
we'll just brush over that
For
real
my
quick.
opinions. Yeah.
And Elliot schmoozes her and ends up having sex with her. And then it's like, well, I've set it up. So says to Beverly, I've had it set up so you can go have sex with her, because an experience hasn't happened unless we both share it. And it's presented in Irons does a really good job here because it's presented in this kind of controlling way, but also that Elliot needs this to happen. Like, it's not just this, like, I'm getting off on the I'm the alpha male and I'm lording this over you. There's this strange connection. It goes beyond that. There's this connection between the brothers.
Yeah, there's a good move that happens here too. So, even in 1988, this was understood to be some form of rape. Like,
Yeah.
I get a lot of stuff in the 80s. We're like, Revenge of the Nerds, dressing up as Darth Vader excuses things.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, you know. This movie does a good job of, in the flashback to when they were kids, asking that girl, oh, would you like to go over there and have sex or something? Or can I look at your vagina? Or whatever what he says. But, like, their clinical approach to things, I'm not saying forgives this. I mean, obviously, this is fucked. But,
Right.
like, you can go, like, oh, their brain doesn't work that way. Like, this isn't predatory. I mean, it's predatory, but it's not. He doesn't recognize it as predatory, right? It's like, no, that's just, why wouldn't it be? Okay? Like,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
It does feel like there's a sleaziness to it, but there's also, it's operating on another level. It's operating on like, no, you would understand this has to happen this way. We both have to have this experience. And then, like, he'll tell me about it. And then we are one person, in this strange way. And this is how we've decided we're going to do that. And the problem is not only just that this is wrong, but Claire Nouveau, she rocks Beverly's world, and he kind of falls for her, and it gets revealed that she figures out that there's two of them, because I think they've been like rotating back and forth seeing her, and then like she figures that out and calls them on it, and it just like crushes Beverly. In the midst of that, she has gotten him addicted to pills. I should mention that, because she has her own drug habit. And
are they addicted already?
That's where it starts, is with her, and then he can't
I thought it was
handle her
after
shit.
they got back together, because she says essentially, like, I'm an actress, I've done a lot of fucked up things, but this is one of the most fucked up things that's ever happened to me. Like,
Yeah,
you swapped out, that's fucking gross.
yeah,
And then, Beverly comes back and begs her forgiveness, and somehow she takes him back, which, like, there's a lot of like, that lady's got some baggage. Like, she's got some backstory that allowed for that to happen. Like, again, no blame, just like, boy,
she's got her own issues.
Being an actress is rough.
But I also like that for the actress being named Genevieve Bujold, she has a very, like, I don't know where she's from originally, but she has a very, like, New York accent.
Yes.
And so it's very funny to have that name and then be around Jeremy Irons, who's like, like, oh, your trifurcated cervix. And she's like, hey, you want a bones or what's?
Yeah.
But she's great. Yeah. I really like her in this.
Interesting casting by her. Not by her. Her casting is interesting. And I don't know if it was just, it was the 1980s or whatever, but, like, she's older, which is interesting for that role. Like this glorious, glamorous starlet that's still a working actress, and, like, just, she's visibly wrinkled. Like, no blame. We all go there. It's just, for a movie in the 80s, it's an interesting choice. And I wonder if that's, like, if there's more to that I'm not smart enough to pick up on in that casting.
I don't know. I could go off on a whole thing about how people are allowed to be adults then versus now. I just saw.
But that's what I was thinking. It's like, I thought by the 80s you weren't allowed to be an adult.
Oh no, you were absolutely allowed to be an adult in the 80s. It was preferred.
Oh, okay. I thought that was over by I thought basically if you showed your tits on screen, you had to be about 24 or below.
Yeah. I mean, like, I probably in general, yes. If you worked at a studio, you were like, why can't she be? Can we get a stand-in that's younger?
Yeah.
Which I was also wondering because the in an early sex scene with her and Beverly, where like she is tied up with like surgical tubing. If that was like her idea or Ellie or Beverly's idea, you know what I mean? Like that's still kind of involving weird clinical tools in your love making, as it were.
Yeah.
And
I feel like I've not been tied up by medical tubing before, so I don't know, but like that shit feels like stretchy enough that it wouldn't be a very effective way to tie someone.
well, that's why they have the forceps to like clamp it off. But
Yeah.
I was too busy thinking about how fun it would be to like have like a ball pit of that stuff, and you're just like nude and lubed up, rolling around in there like a butter pat in spaghetti. That would be kind of cool.
I mean, I see where that thought comes from.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you had it.
Me
However,
too.
to me, that the physical sensation that brings to my mind is the grossest thing I can imagine.
Oh, I think it'd be weird.
Like, no, but I mean, like, that's like on a fundamental, like, hideous level.
Yeah. I think it'd be, I'm for it. So if anyone has a baby pool full of surgical tubing that I could writhe around in, hit me up.
Surgical tubing is thrown out, so like it can't be that expensive. We could make this happen.
Yeah. I don't want to do it myself. That'd be weird. I just want to stumble on it. Like that there's like the way people leave cookies out for Santa. If I just show up at home and someone has left in my yard a kiddie pool full of lubed up surgical
tubing. If you ever have to like watch your house while you're away again, I'll make something happen.
Although at the same time, then I'd have to transport because I'm not getting nude in my front lawn and doing that. I live too near a school for that to happen.
You had a bathtub.
Yeah, it's not the same. I actually, the other thing is like the bathtub in both cases, like I wouldn't want it to be too constrictive. You know, you want to be able to move around in there. I got places to be inside that surgical tubing.
Yeah, I mean, I still probably think you shouldn't do any of this near a school, even indoors. Even indoors, you'll get in some trouble.
Actually, there's nothing sexual about it. I just think it'd be cool.
I mean, I think there's everything sexual about it.
That's on you.
Exude sexuality.
Well, that's true. I can't help that.
I mean, you can. You and your twin brother.
But yeah, so awesome. Missed opportunities aside. Yeah, she rocks Beverly's World, and like when she finally meets Elliot, like they do a thing where he like before, I think it's even before she figures out that they've been two-timing her, basically.
Yeah.
That when she's introduced to Elliot, like immediately her hackles go up and she hates him. And I like that little bit that he's like Beverly, but wrong to her.
Yeah.
But like still inextricably Beverly. And that just feels so terrible.
Yeah. It's interesting too that so she picks up on it, but like they're so insistent that they're the same person, but like, they obviously have like pretty significant personality differences. So
yeah.
It's an so is it like Elliot is just kind of as like the alpha of the two, almost like doming his own brother? Like they're not the same person. Like his brother probably could have been fine if he didn't have.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. Like it's hard to tell because it's not, because that it's not even, I don't want to say symbiotic, even though they both get something from it. It's like double parasitic, where they're feeding off each other in this strange way. Because I do think you're right, yeah, that there is this alpha controlling aspect of it too, but there's also a like I need him to do this for my own gratification, and if he doesn't do it, it's not that me making him do it, then he's got to like tell me about it, and yeah, it's a real fucked up mind game that they've got going on.
Yeah, the other aspect too is, I mean, it's the same aspect. I was just thinking, like, Elliot. Wait, God damn it! Yeah, Elliot seems like he'd be fine on his own. Like he wouldn't have a girlfriend or whatever, but like he'd be just in a lab somewhere,
right.
Probably like being very successful. So it's interesting that like the alpha is the one that like I can't imagine. He would be the one that would be like, directionless. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because there's a lot of it. They don't make it sound like that he's an idiot and doesn't know anything and just coasts on what his brother does. Like yes, his brother is the one that's a little bit more research focused, but Elliot's plenty smart on his own and has come up with stuff on his own.
Yeah. We didn't talk about interesting the female names for two of them and what that means.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a pitch here. It's just like she even brings it up at one point, but like it's weird. It's just an interesting choice. Like what's going, like what am I supposed to read into that?
Right, Beverly and he calls Elliot Ellie. Yeah,
Ellie. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of like made me think of The Game, the David Fincher movie with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn.
Oh, yeah.
That like they're also both have like female, like Connie, and I forget what the other one's name is, but they have female names there as well. Because it's brought up specifically when she mentions that he's got a girl's name and he gets really defensive about it.
Yeah. So I wonder if it's like some kind of like yin and yang thing. Like, they're incomplete because there's no like, whatever. I don't remember which one's female and male with yin and yang, but like, like one is missing.
Right. Which, I mean, yeah. But the question is like, is that even a, would that have been able to work without a woman involvement? You know what I mean? Like, because some of this is that they have this system going and this woman upends their lives. This isn't an excuse for their system or like the way they're choosing to live, but it's, rule number 3, never fall in love. That's from that Kevin Costner movie, The Gynecologist. And because he falls in love, things go awry. But before, it's like they were a complete person as the two of them in a weird, fucked up way. Yeah. And that kind of went awry.
Yeah.
But I think
I feel like there's, no, I'm not trying, like, I just feel like it's just the fact they mentioned girl's name in the movie. I audience at home, I know you don't like talking to us, but like, if you got a theory here, because I feel like we're missing something. Like, I think there's a thing there, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
Yeah. I'm unclear myself. I honestly didn't put much thought into it. I was like, whatever. To me, their names are Chad and Tad.
As someone that grew up with a Switch name, this was something on my mind.
Oh.
Alex being both a girl and a boy's name.
Sure.
And there was a couple of female Alexes on TV when I was younger. So the idea of gendered names beaten into my very brain.
And look where that got you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing great.
But yeah, so Beverly starts like crashing out, and it takes a very long time. And I at the same time, I kind of like that. I like that it's not just he's immediately a crippled addict. Like it's that slow slide into addiction, or the addiction slow slide into just absolute despair and nonsense.
Because Claire is a drug addict, but like in a Hollywood kind of drug addict way, where it's like she's stable at it. Like she's good at being a drug addict.
Yeah, I can make this work.
And I think he was trying to dive straight into the deep end instead of like wading in. So he just went straight to like professional drug use. Yeah.
Well, he was on it, and then what happened is because they split, so there's the depression on top of that, and then he tries to reach out and call her and sort of apologize for this whole awful thing. And in her hotel room, she's away shooting. She was in town shooting a miniseries, so I think they're still doing that, or doing reshoots or something like that. And in her suite hotel, she's having meetings with hair and makeup people and whatever her stylist is there. And her stylist answers the phone. And because a man answers a phone in a hotel room, Beverly is immediately like, well, she's cheating on me. And like, doesn't even like question it, just immediately starts launching into accusations and being really fucking creepy about it. And that makes things even worse. And so he slides even further in depression and drug use. And like Elliot's not that much help in that regard, like a little bit, but then it's also like, I think because he starts getting involved with the drugs too. You know what I mean? It just seems like this, again, this like shared experience kind of thing.
Well, he says at one point that he has to synchronize with his brother.
Right.
Like he's got to get on the same drug level. And during the crash out, and this is like the part of the movie that I remembered is, motherfucker, Elliot, who cares? Is walking down the street and he sees an art installation by a metallurgist, and he goes, finally my plan can come to fruition.
Yeah.
And in a what I'm going to call the worst interview ever, talks this metallurgist into making him gynecological tools used for operating on mutant women, which are basically H.R. Giger sex toys. Like they are nasty looking.
They are, they are the product of a completely deranged mind.
Audience, if you haven't seen the movie, like, if you're imagining something that could possibly be used as in any way useful in any medical setting, you're picturing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like, think of like a silver maggot that's got articulation points, and then like a bit of a and then like there's like a razor in the middle. They are so not okay.
Just a bunch of Cenobites listening to this going, what's the problem? This all sounds normal to me.
Yeah. No. I'm not taking anything away from like the what's the name of that cube?
The
Lamentations.
The lament configuration.
Yeah, you lament, configure that lament all you want, baby cakes. I'm just saying, you guys, you haven't passed the exams. You're not Pinhead PhD. You're not the other fat one.
Butterball. The best one.
Dr. Butterball. No. Have fun. They're great. They're great for weird kink shit.
Well, and I was excited to see that metallurgist as Stephen Lack, who is we'll say actor. That's he's in Scanners. He's the main guy in Scanners. And his performance is very wooden and weird. Yeah, same guy. And he's a little bit more personable here, but I really like him in Scanners because he's weird and off-putting because that character would be. But yeah, he's like, I don't know, man. And then finally gets on board. And I like later when, because Jeremy Irons or, Beverly, whatever, is like tries to use them. And I love their operating room, how they're all dressed like the Emperor's guardsmen, like wearing all red and stuff like that. Like it is not made to put the patient at ease at all.
No, it looks like it looks like it was made to put Terry Gilliam at ease. Terry Gilliam coded room.
But he rolls in with these tools, and everyone in the operating room was like, "What the fuck is this?" And the nurses are like, "What even is?" And he's just like, "Just set them up, and I'll number them, and I'll say the number when I need them." And then like he immediately just like fucks up and like hurts the patient and like tries to assault her, and it's all bad. And I just like that later when he walks by the same art gallery, they're selling them as an artistic piece. And he's like, so they even stole his idea.
Well, because I think the guy said that would make for a great artistic, great for a name for an exhibition.
No, you don't understand. It's a drug that gives worms to ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That scene in the operating theater where he rolls that shit out is so... I don't say this with a light heart, but like, boy, glad I wasn't a lady watching that.
Yeah.
Because like, there's a whole bunch of feelings that I didn't have to feel. And, looking at those and imagine those going in my sensitive parts that I don't have. Whoo, buddy.
Yeah. Well, when I first moved out to Portland and I was unemployed for a long time, I lived downtown right by the library, the main branch of the library down there. And I would go up and I would read books in the film section. There was a lot of horror stuff. There was a lot of like feminist perspectives on horror. And that came up enough. And I was talking to my sister who was in grad school at the time, about reading this, and it was like grad school for like communications and media studies and that kind of thing. And I had mentioned this movie. I was like, this keeps coming up. I haven't seen it, but it's supposed to be good. And she's like, I'll check it out. And then got really mad at me. She's like, I have my yearly exam coming up and I just watched this movie and it sucked so bad.
Oh, really?
Like I'm terrified of going to the doctor now. And it's all real bad.
That is ugh.
Yeah.
So yeah, audience at home, if you want to be creepy, watch that scene.
Right. But then just, because, and like she Nouveau like disappears from the picture at a certain point. Like it does, it stops even really being about her.
So she says, I'm leaving for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And then that's when the phone call happens that he thinks he's cheating on her. So like the full spiral is happening while she's away filming. And when she comes back, it's fucking dunzo. Like he is a goddamn mess.
Yeah. And they're like switching for each other at the clinic, and that's not going well. He's hurting patients and just like they don't give a shit. Like at one point they're secretary who's got like a weird ass name like Tenuta or something.
Yeah, you're right. I don't remember what it is, but you're absolutely right. It does have a weird ass name.
Yeah, I don't know if that's common in
Oh, Danuta.
Danuta. That's it.
Oh, that lady's name is Barbara Gordon.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I wonder if she was ever paralyzed.
Yeah, it's tragic what happened to her. But that's for a different podcast. But yeah, she walks in and sees him like shooting up basically, and is like, "Oop, I'm out of here."
Yeah, she goes, he said, "I'm giving my notice."
Yeah,
I'm like, I think if you work in a gynecologist's office and you walk in on the lead gynecologist mainlining heroin, I don't think you have to give notice.
Yeah,
I think you go, obviously I don't work here anymore. Like
clearly, yeah. And then it's like, excuse me, it is seriously like an hour of him then just crashing out, just like this like stuff going wrong for him. There, like at one point, Elliot is accepting an award for something, and then he's like, "Well, Beverly couldn't be here tonight," and Beverly is there tonight, and he's all like zooted up on whatever, and then just cool guy gives great speech. Does a horrible job at it. Really embarrasses them. Like he's just blowing up their credibility left and right.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about that speech.
Yeah, and there's no one around that helps them. There's no one around that's like, "Hey, what's going on? Are you okay?" They are just in this bubble of their own making.
Well, yeah, they have like this empty life. Yeah, like it's only Claire, and I think he's fucking. I think
there's another girlfriend that shows up, but she's pretty aloof and like whatever.
Yeah, like Beverly's got a steady girl, which I thought was the secretary for a while, but I guess it wasn't.
Yeah.
Or the whatever, secretary is not the right word. Sorry, I'm from, my mind is in the 80s and I'm
Right.
using antiquated terminology.
Office manager or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, but she's very aloof and whatever, and eventually like she disappears from the picture as well because then they just
because don't they three-way with her? Isn't that his steady girl that they try to have like
he tries to like, and I don't think it goes well. And there's there's the moment as well where when they're splitting a bit because this Claire wedge is going between them, and Elliot feels very sort of attacked, and he ends up getting twin escorts, one of which is played by Jill Hennessy, that most people know from like Law and Order.
Really?
And and she's in Madam Web apparently. Okay, as beautiful woman, I guess. But yeah, a lot of
her sister Jacqueline Hennessy plays her the other escort Coral.
That's true, but she's great TV career, been in tons of stuff. Oh, was in RoboCop 3 as well. Oh my god. Anyway, but yeah, she there's a weird moment where he's like, he picks them up because it's got to be twins, and he's like, okay, you call me Beverly, you call me Ellie, and then that's a whole other can of worms. That's weird as hell.
I mean, I think on the scale of weird, that's far more normal than trying to have a three-way with your twin brother.
Right. Well, because it's girls and twins.
Well, no, because they're getting paid for it.
Oh, so it's
they're like, no, I'm just saying like there's already like this is obviously gross. We're paying extra for gross.
Right.
When it's just like, oh no, what are lifestyle choices? Me and my brother. I feel like that's, I mean, maybe it's not as gross. I guess just if you're getting cash out of it, I feel like it kind of like excuses some
it's
of
smart
the
money moves.
Yeah.
Alex was tending his fingers when he said that.
What I'm saying is like, you know how like anybody that's like 7 foot tall, the first thing someone asks is, why don't you play basketball?
Uh-huh.
I'm saying like, if you're like smoking hot twins, the first thing you ask is like, why aren't you twin escorts for boning down on people, getting that extra cheddar?
That is legitimately like, that is actually what happens in the Dead Ringer series. I watched like a little bit of the first episode, and like that very first thing is like these two, they're like eating in a restaurant, and this guy's like, hey, are you twins? And they just like launch into this thing like, oh, I bet you're gonna ask us if we've ever kissed and made out and whatever. So yeah, they knew you were coming.
Well, see, you gotta make use for what God gave you, and if God gave you a twin, you gotta have sex with each other.
Unless you're Jeremy Irons, this has kind of gone off.
That scene with the three-way that's one of the scenes of I think watching this movie watching this movie in the CGI era, it doesn't occur to you, but like that scene was done so well, where there's one Jeremy Irons obviously, but it's like they're having a three-way or the start of a three-way.
Oh yeah.
And it reads as two people. Like you don't, there's almost no part of the movie where you're aware that it's Jeremy Irons twice.
Well, the one I'd say the one negative, the part where it's the most obvious is when in Beverly's dream sequence where he has a dream that he and Nouveau are having sex, and then he realizes he's connected to his brother. Like they're kind of obsessed with the original Siamese twins, Chang and Aang, that were connected at the side, and that they have that, and that she's like biting the skin fold that connects them. But you can tell, like in some of those long shots, like his head is abnormally turned away from the camera. The other Jeremy Irons, and it's in this way that
I don't
like
think I noticed that.
Yeah, because it's your eyes are focused. You're the
I'm looking at
the blocking is done that you're looking at the
in the middle.
Yeah, you're looking at the other stuff, but but in general, yes, it's very technically a very impressive movie, particularly for what they had working with at the time. But it still holds up really well in that regard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't mean like when I say like the CGI thing. It's just like I think it's so easy now, and if you're born in the year 2000, it's like it wouldn't occur to you of like how fucking difficult. Like that Pieta scene at the end is like that's insane. Like I can see where the cut is. I think the blanket is probably the back line between the front and back, but still, it's like that looks fucking gorgeous.
Yeah. Or there's times where it's they'd move it in a scene where like, characters, it seems like the split's over here, but no, it's actually over here. And now that's so easy to do with, After Effects, whatever, you can make masks that move. This was film. They had to split. Yeah. It was a lot more cumbersome of a work process, and really done very, very well.
But yeah, there was a few where they like the camera move. I was gonna say pan, but the camera moves in whatever direction from Jeremy Irons down Jeremy Irons to Jeremy Irons again. You're like, oh fuck, what the.
Yeah,
that's fucking wizardry, and like if you were raised with CGI, you wouldn't even wouldn't even raise your head. But like I remember watching Kirk fight Kirk, and I'm like, no, that's what that's supposed to look like. Even though that was 20 years before I was born.
But yeah, then it kind of, I mean, it is just them losing everything and then just living among trash.
It's somewhat that. So, Claire comes back and kind of cleans up Beverly.
Mm-hmm.
Elliot. Fuck.
Beverly.
Who's the one that Claire's with?
Beverly.
This is going to be one of the dumbest things to ever say. I feel like Beverly should be Elliot. Their name doesn't fit them, even though it's the exact same person.
Yeah. You don't get insight like that anywhere else.
But, oh no, I think it's like it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go into this because it's a fucking bananas thing. But
I spent 5 minutes talking about rolling around in tubing. You should be careful about sounding bananas.
No, I more mean I'm gonna in the way that I can't make it make sense. I was gonna say in the way that I think the number 7 smells purple. I can't that's true. In my brain, 7 smells purple.
Okay, so like synesthesia,
like synesthesia, but I'm saying in like a synesthetic way. Like it does. Okay, so
that's very. Is it just that, or does that other? Or are there other
I have
things?
A few others, but like that's the one that like jumps into my mind. 7 in purple,
because that would be very frustrating if like that's it. It's like that's the only synesthetic thing you have. It's like no, I'm normal except 7's purple. 7 smells purple.
It's barely that. Like I have to think synesthetic thoughts, and that it's like that association is always there. It's like but it's there, and I can't defend it because obviously there's nothing to defend.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. But when Claire comes back, she cleans up one of them. He starts to get cleaned up. His brother's sad, so his brother tries to meet him on his own level, and that's where the synchronicity happens.
Yeah.
That's when the full both of them spiraling at the same time. Because I think it's interesting that it's like they can't just get like homeostasis. Like it's got to be the only homeostasis they ever had was when they were one person. Mm-hmm. They can't be two people. One's got to be on drugs, one's got to be normal, like, and then trying to be in the middle as a complete clusterfuck or the coolest thing that's ever happened. Because this is the part of the movie I was like, yeah, that's the movie I remember watching. It's a fucking mess, and like it's weird that scene where they start calling themselves Chang and Aang at the end. Woo.
Yeah, and they're just wandering around in underwear and suit coats.
Yeah,
and like it's so sad and pathetic when like they're like eating birthday cake with their hands, and one of them's crying because he wanted ice cream, and it's like they're just so fucking far gone. Yeah, but like you can't just stop, because that's what, as I think I mentioned, like that's what apparently killed the original the twins this was based on is that withdrawal from this stuff. And they even talk about it. They're like, we'll have to like wean ourselves off. So in the morning we'll take this and that will help us and whatever. But it's like, it just becomes this cycle of drug dependency, and they don't seek help from anyone else. And finally, Beverly they're all just in a drug induced haze, but they keep calling each other Chang and Aang, and they do a separation surgery. Beverly performs a separation surgery on Elliot and just carves up Elliot.
Using the gynecological tools used for operating on mutant women.
Yeah.
They're using this weird HR Giger equipment so they can separate themselves so one can go back to, I think presumably so one can go back with Claire, but they're not separated. So what he's doing is disemboweling his brother on a gynecological exam table in their apartment or their old, it's like, and it's brutal. And it's anyway. So a really effective scene. What's better is he wakes up in the morning, and this movie's really dreamy at this point, and we've had dream sequences. Wakes up in the morning, he goes, "Oh man, I've had the weirdest dream," and he's sleeping on a chair, on the gynecological exam chair. You're like, "Oh, was that a dream sequence?" Was that? And then the camera shows us that in the background, one of them is just his whole ass stomach is gutted open on the other gynecological chair. He's like, "Oh fuck." And the way that the surviving one isn't looking in that direction, just going, Elliot, Ellie, and he's just not looking at the obvious dead, disembodied brother. Whew,
haunting.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And then he tries to go out and be a person, and then immediately just comes back and lays on the body of his dead brother. And
and this is where some of the great trick photography split screen stuff where Jeremy Irons is holding himself.
Yeah.
And it's goddamn flawless. Like it's really, it looks really good.
But it is a heady, grim watch. It's not fun. I think it's an amazing movie. I think Cronenberg is fantastic, but it's brutal. And I think it's a testament to Jeremy Irons that this was like, I think part of the reason it's so brutal is that you're very invested in him, that because he makes these characters so lifelike and so their own people that it's not just trickery.
They're almost likable. Like it's like they're rapists. They're psychopaths, and like you're kind of rooting for that. It's like, man, that guy this is like a masterclass. It really is like some of the most impressive acting that you're ever going to get. And,
well, and it's also because I think because David Cronenberg, because everything's kind of boiled down into this moral mush where it's, there's not a good twin or an evil twin. It's just a bunch of fucked up people just trying to figure shit out and failing. And so there's very human elements that you're rooting for these people. They get off drugs so you can get back to your life of tricking women. But it's very good. It deserves all the praise it gets, but it's not necessarily a fun, let's throw this on.
Yeah, well, that's so I, when I was younger, high school years, when I was like into this movie, I was into, I was very edgelord. I liked, big Clockwork Orange and that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I had lumped this in with that, and because of some of the kind of shocking stuff. But it's this isn't this doesn't have, none of Clockwork Orange is fun, but Clockwork Orange has a wit to it. Well, there's no wit here. This is just
it's bright and kinetic in its own way, and it's propulsive. This is like I said, very austere and stark and grim.
Yeah, but
nobody does it like Cronenberg.
Cronenberg kind of genius. Jeremy Irons kind of genius.
I think because it's also that he's accused frequently of being sort of cold and clinical, and I think that approach works really well here. Because it not only mirrors what, sort of the Mantles overall, the way that they treat the world around them and the people around them, but it also gives you that distance where you still feel bad for them, but it's also a kind of, you are separated from them, but you kind of want to reach out and be more emotive towards them, but you can't because it's a movie and, you can't help them. The
other thing they do really well in this is the small cast of it all. they're in a city and it feels almost empty. Like you're just so focused on them. Like it's just they really do like the kind of claustrophobic. There's only them aspect to it. Like, and the only time you ever get out is like you're in Claire's apartment and her apartment is cluttered and kind of falling in on you.
Yeah, it's he's kind of good at that because I think the scanners, there's a little bit bigger of a cast of scanners. It blows up a little bit, but it's pretty small in its focus. And like the Fly is really just like 3 people. For as as high on a high concept as it is really just about these Gina Davis, Jeff Goldblum, and the third guy who's also got like a stupid name, but that's another Cronenberg thing.
So I just rewatched that like a month and a half ago or so. And boy, does that holds up like...
Oh, it's so great.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just like, because especially like when it gets to the end, you're like, when it starts like ramping the end up, you're like, oh, this is bad. This is worse. Oh my God. Like, and you're like, oh yeah, this is from 1980, whatever. Like, it's just, it's so engaging and it does it in such a slow paced way. Like it makes you really like Brundle. Before Brundle Fly. Yeah.
Stathis was that guy's name. Stathis Baran's actually, which is kind of funny. But
he's somebody later. Like he's not just like a that guy actor.
Yeah, John Getz is the name. He's been in a bunch of different stuff. But he that's also, I think The Fly is, it's nice when you see Jeff Goldblum not be Jeff Goldblum. You know what I mean? Where it's like he hadn't yet achieved that sort of self-parodying level that, frankly, I think he got to in the 90s. But, if you can make a career out of being that, that's fine. Good
Later
for him.
90s, because I actually just rewatched Independence Day.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeff Goldblum is still an actor. Like, it's a stupid fucking movie, but, like, he's not doing Jeff Goldblum. He hasn't done the... I had this thought the other day that Jeff Goldblum is just Christopher Walken. It's, like, the same career path. It's like... You're kind of good, and then like you just did that.
Yeah, they kind of just get offered roles where he's being Jeff Goldblum because you're like, people know you for being you. Be you, do that thing. Which was not to get too far afield, but it's like Christopher Walken in Dune I liked because he wasn't that like as Christopher Walken-y. But
I don't disagree with you. It's just and I hate doing this to actors, but he's crossed the Rubicon that I can't see anybody but Christopher Walken. I just can't. Like,
no, and that's
just one of those people that I can't divorce it. So that's all I saw was Christopher Walken. I kind of strongly disagree with that.
See, I think we're coming at the same conclusion from different ways. Where I think I give him more credit because he's not doing just Christopher Walken. You know what I mean? Like, because I have that same approach of like, you're Christopher Walken. Hey, you didn't do the thing you always do. Look at that. You get an extra special gold star rather than just being anyone else in that role. But anyway, highly recommend. As far as like, this is definitely in the more like heady crimes of the future kind of. Crimes of the Future is even really fantastical. This is really, really grounded for a Cronenberg movie.
Every single part of this is real. Like, there's nothing that couldn't happen in reality.
Yeah.
Hard recommend if you're in the mood to be sad.
Yeah.
It didn't mean sad, just depressed. It's like, it's not sad. It's not that you're crying because the dog died. It's just like, ugh.
The realities of this shit.
Like
and
French ennui.
Yeah. And it doesn't have the same like rubbernecky freak show feeling as like Requiem for a Dream, where Requiem for a Dream is like, look at these people touched drugs once and then their lives just went awful, and let's all look at them like after school special style. This is a much more like sad, grounded version of that.
Yeah, hard to recommend.
Yeah.
So speaking of things we recommend to the audience, John, do you have anything to recommend to the audience?
I do. I had the opportunity to watch the Oscar-winning documentary, No Other Land. Really, really good. I was worried. I very much, with the ongoing atrocities and then genocide that's happening there in Palestine, I was worried it was going to be really, really hard to watch. Like it was just going to be, I don't want to call it like something like that misery porn, but where it's just like, how many times do we have to show you this awful stuff before you get it? But it's a very human story about the people living in this area that is being demolished. It's a village that's been there forever. It's being demolished so Israel can build a tank training ground or something like that. And later it's revealed that like, no, it's just because we didn't want to have villagers there, but just what these people go through and how they deal with it is amazing. And it's oddly hopeful in some ways, but it's also fucking terrifying. And Israel's a genocidal state and it sucks. And then I watched Andor is good. I really liked Andor.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. The Paladins think like, hey, maybe don't build your land where Israel's eventually going to be.
I guess, yeah. I guess that no one thought of that. Yeah.
Like,
have you thought of that? Shouldn't you be
like, during World War I? You're like, hey, maybe see some things coming. Sorry, that's being dark. But my recommendations are as follows. Have I already recommended Solo Leveling?
No, just to me personally.
Okay. So to everybody but John, I recommend Solo Leveling. It is an anime that I don't know if I could call it anime because it's Korean, but it's based on a Korean what they call manga, which I don't know that word either. But it's super good. It's kind of like, it's one of those playing with the tropes of cool guy gets strong. Yeah, it's really quite well done. I mean, it just brief setup is essentially there's a world in which portals appeared X number of years ago, awaken the powers of some humans to fight the things in the portal. But your powers are standard. Your level suck through S rank. You know, like that those rankify people on YouTube. You know, like S rank, A rank, blah blah blah. And you can't. It doesn't matter. You can do push-ups all day. You can't. Your rank doesn't change. And this guy is like the suckiest guy that ever sucked. He's like suck rank. Like one time he had to go to the hospital just because he went through the portal. Like nothing happened. He just like literally like that's what that sucks. And then like something weird happens. And like not to give too much away, but this is like, you know, this is the premise. It's pilot episode shit. Like a window opens up in his field of view, and basically it's like the leveling screen to a video game. And now he's the only person in that world that can level up. But it's through like this construct that he sees that like this isn't a thing in the world. Like it's just this one guy has this. It doesn't tell anybody. And it's like, it's just a really cool like take on it. And then, you know, as it goes on, it just turns into strong guy gets stronger like every other fucking show. But it's
right.
Yeah, it's really well done. And the animation is fucking gorgeous.
Do they ever explain why that happens?
Now through the first 2 seasons, no.
Great, good. That's awesome.
Literally, like all it is at one point, like some of the demons say something. You're like, "Do you know about that?" And they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, there's no information. There's no one to ask. I'm big fan of the setup.
Nice. On that just makes me think of one of the things that I liked about like the original Final Destination is that it just happens to him. There's not like an overarching thing where like he was the chosen one and he was fated to have this premonition. No, he just does. And I like that that's never explained. Like Which I'll also say that the new Final Destination is really, really fun. If you like those movies, this is a very solid entry into that series.
And I do also want to say that I also liked Andor season 2, and John and I are going to be doing a Patreon on it. So if you want to hear that, it's patreon.com/Alexx Bollen, ALEXXBOLLEN. You can just search for John Alex Hate Stuff, but like that's the direct link or whatever. But yeah, John and I are going to be talking about it. So you can give us money to listen to that.
Woo!
Which you should, because you know, I don't have any money. I'm sure somebody out there do. Like,
yeah,
give me $5. You can hear me say different words.
You can hear me explain why 7 smells purple.
Hey John, you know what we should watch for next episode?
What?
I think I'm in the mood for like, I don't know, like the 26th of something. Like something that's like maybe like the 26th time this thing's been tried. You got any thoughts on that?
Are we talking like a time traveling crab, like a concept, or you want like the 26th of a full movie?
Pitch me on the crab.
Well, it's a crab that travels through time.
They did it 26 times.
Well, they've tried it 25 times. I was going to be surprised if there was a 26th. In some of them, it's not a series. It's just different people have had this idea, and you know, it's like how there's like a bunch of movies about a ragtag group of kids playing baseball.
Huh. No. How about like something that there's been like 26 movies?
That's tough. So like James Bond?
Yeah, kind of like James Bond, but like like shittier and less misogyny.
Oh, less misogyny.
Here's how. Yeah, I'm also in the mood for a Red Hulk.
Okay, that narrows it down significantly. We're talking Fast and the Furious 6, I think. I think that's the one where the Rock shows up.
Yeah.
For the purposes of this joke, the Rock is a communist.
He's a little problematic.
That's true.
These days. Yeah, and nothing with Jason Momoa.
What if instead of a strong guy, we made an old guy strong?
An old guy strong?
Yeah.
Like Clint Eastwood?
Kinda. But less craggy.
Oh, so more like grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
And like recently shaved a mustache. And this is going on too long. We're watching Captain America Brave
Gotta
New
fill
World.
that time.
Yeah. Good for us. Yeah, we haven't done like a good old fashioned punch 'em up superhero thing in quite some time.
Yeah, I think the last Marvel one we did Doctor Strange, I think, the Multiverse of Madness. I feel like we watched that for the show. I don't think I would have just watched that on my own.
I'm pretty sure we watched it for the show, but that was still probably a couple of years ago, right?
Oh yeah, it's been a little bit because we didn't do Eternals and we didn't do Shang-Chi, although I saw that one.
I kind of like that one.
That one was fun.
I kind of like
it was fun.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that. It's gonna be good. It's got Anthony Mackie inexplicably being Captain America, even though like I don't understand how.
I mean, there was that series.
Useless,
there was the series like the Calf and the Snowman or the Falcon and the Snowman. I didn't watch it. We'll see how.
I watched it. It's just like he doesn't have superpower. Like you can't like. That's the whole thing. I get it, blah, blah, blah. It's the power of the blah, but shut your face. It's stupid.
All right. I'm sure I'll have lots of questions because I'm not going to do any additional research.
I mean, what I'm going to research is how something that's its design is to absorb all energy is somehow also simultaneously really bouncy and always bounces back to you.
Yeah.
The physics on that.
Vibranium, I think is the answer for that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Vibranium.
Yeah. Pretty easy answer.
Anyway, Andor is really good. You should watch it. Listen to our Patreon. All right, see you next time.
Bye-bye.